Good evening and welcome to Sunset News this Monday evening. As always, we bring you news, community stories, economics, weather, and sports. I am Glenn Rashpura.
And I am Ogito Greg.
Good evening. How are you? It's great to have you on the show, your first show for the year.
Thank you, Gunora. Yes, it's exciting to be back.
Well, getting into what you can expect into the news, Namibia has disapproved of Germany's decision to step in on behalf of Israel in a case before the International Court of Justice, where South Africa has accused Israel of committing genocide in Gaza. President Hage Geingob urged Germany to reconsider its involvement, citing the historical context of Germany's acknowledgement of genocide in Namibia in 2021. Now, during the period from 1904 to 1908, German colonizers perpetrated what historians consider the 20th century's first genocide, resulting in the massacre of over 70,000 Herero and Nama people. President Geingob urged that Germany's moral commitment to the United Nations Convention Against Genocide, including atonement for the Namibian genocide, conflicted with its support for Israel. He stated that the German government had yet to fully address its historical wrongdoing in Namibia. Germany, however, dismissed the genocide accusation against Israel, characterizing it as a political instrumentalization of the UN Genocide Convention. The German government emphasized its commitment to the convention given its historical responsibility stemming from the Holocaust. Now, this is a very interesting development. Granted that Germany just recently, I think in 2021, acknowledged that what happened, the atrocities that happened in Namibia were in fact a genocide, and now it's supporting Israel that's being accused of, war crime.
Yeah, it is a very interesting development. Firstly, Germany didn't officially recognize, some of their politicians did say so in public, but it was to be one of the aspects of the agreement that they proposed to sign with Namibia. In the end, we have not yet signed that agreement. Also, in terms of the genocide itself, in Namibia, it actually started on the 12th of January 1904. And Germany's submission to the International Court of Justice was on the 12th of January 2024. So it's 120 years later exactly.
Also, on the exact same date.
Today marks 100 days of Israel's destruction of Gaza following the attack by Hamas on Israel on the 7th of October last year. So that attack led to about 1,600 Israeli deaths. The latest estimates are that there are now 23,000 Palestinians dead since or during these 100 days. And the bombing continues.
And we hear more and more incidences of hospitals being bombed, children and women largely dying.
Yes, well, Israel contends that Hamas is using Palestinian civilians as human shields. However, it can be argued that even if a bad person was to hide behind an innocent, that shouldn't give you the right to shoot the innocent as well. Nevertheless, the deaths continue.
The deaths continue. I know you did this story, and thank you so much for joining us and shedding some light on what's happening.
Yes.
Because I think most people don't understand the whole scope of it, and so it's also just, I think, for everybody, we just want to understand why Germany is backing Israel while it's accused of such
Germany is
horrible.
backing Israel because remember that the specific convention, the UN Convention on Genocide, was adopted in 1948, which is just a couple of years after the end of World War II. It was during World War II that Germany committed the Holocaust, which was the systematic genocide of the Jews. What is interesting from our perspective in Namibia is that Germany did that Holocaust with methods and strategies that it had perfected here in Namibia. Not so much the gas chambers, but definitely the concentration camps and various other very psychologically impactful practices, which, you know, here in Namibia, Shark Island, we have the terrible memory of survivors being forced to scrape the skulls of their relatives clean so that those skulls could be shipped back to Germany to prove their theoretical scientific assumption that people of European descent are inherently better than other people in the world. But the point I'm trying to make is that Germany acknowledges that it owes a debt to the Jewish people, and that's why it feels obliged to back Israel, which is now the home of the Jewish people according to Israeli mandate. But it also has a historic history or debt to Namibia, which makes this whole development so interesting. Germany is backing Israel. Israel is committing genocide, that's what we say, in Palestine. Namibia is backing Gaza and the Palestinians.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, there's still atonement that needs to be done for what happened here in 1904 to 1908
Yes.
from the German
Yes. So we
side.
all now await the judgment from the International Court of Justice, although there's no timeline set, and there's a large number of judges who will have to give their input before we hear.
We'll definitely keep you posted. In our next story, during a parliamentary standing committee on gender equality, the chairperson, Gotthard Kasuta, shared the aims of the public meeting with stakeholders in the Erongo region. The event, which took place in Swakopmund at the Multipurpose Center on Monday, Precious Ngitwanapo was there and shared this.
Why we are here is that in 2020, the National Assembly received a petition from Shut All Down movement, and this petition is seeking to put an end to sexual and gender-based violence and femicide in Namibia. The petition was then referred. After now, the procedure is that after the petition was then received by the National Assembly, then it is referred to the relevant standing committee. In this case, the name is this Committee of Gender Equality, Social Development and Family Affairs. Now, when the committee received this petition, the committee then has taken a decision that we as a committee has to go around the country to gather the inputs and the views from stakeholders, meaning from stakeholders such as yourself, such as civil society organizations, government departments, and the general public. All of us are aware that gender-based violence, sexual gender-based violence is really a concern in this country. It has been a concern in the country. Men, there are a lot of men, because when we went around this country, there are a lot of men that are also there suffering in silence. Because at times we are also informed that at times these men goes and report these cases at the police. They are told that, no, you are a man, how can a man really come and report that the women have beaten you and all these things? Meaning that these are things that are really happening in our societies.
Now, gender equality has been a topic of discussion and also a topic of great concern. What are your thoughts on this?
I think what's significant and what we also heard in the clip is that these public hearings are the eventual result of a petition handed in 2020 by the Shut It All Down movement. And that was a movement led by, in particular, young Namibian women who were fed up with the situation in terms of gender-based violence and discrimination here in Namibia. The fact that it took maybe less than 4 years for the Parliament to get to the stage of public hearings might be a little bit disappointing, but hopefully, eventually, we will see changes being made by our decision makers and lawmakers in particular.
No, I hope the same as well. Now, getting into our next story, the National Council for Research, Science and Technology, NCRST, advertised in several daily newspapers today for consultancy services to realize the vision of a National Research, Science, Technology and Innovation Center for Windhoek. They are specifically looking for land surveying for the construction of the planned NRSTI Valley and consultation for the environmental management plan. The NCRST also wants to put up a fence around the property in Windhoek. All these opportunities are valid until the 9th of February. How would a center like this benefit Namibians, do you think?
I think that Namibia is fertile ground for scientific, technological and innovative development, but that fertile ground isn't often given the attention it needs. So in National Science, Technology, Innovation Valley, or a center which brings all these efforts together in one place, we might have more success in spurring on this local development, which is very much needed in today's world. If we want to take advantage of our competitive opportunities, competitive advantages that we have as a country, we really need to pay attention to science, technology, innovation. And to do that effectively, we need to bring all those strands together. Right now, much of it is done in silos, you know, and we don't all know what or how far the progress is.
Yes. And you don't know what the other party is tackling. You guys, I mean, two heads are better than one.
Exactly.
In any case. So I think this is also a great initiative and
you know,
a step in the right direction.
Specifically in terms of mining, we see huge advances. We are at the forefront of the world in terms of mining from the seabed and so forth. But there are other aspects where we don't see any of that technology applied.
All right. Now, in our Story of the Day segment, we look at the gender-based violence being the greatest equality challenge for African women. We expand on this after the break.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master.
Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
In our Story of the Day, Africans see gender-based violence as the most important women's right-related issue their government and society needs to address, while 31% identified it as the top priority. This is followed by too few women in influential positions in government, 20%, unequal access to education at 17%, and unequal opportunities in the workplace at 16%. This is according to a report by Afrobarometer. Africans back gender equality, but gaps persist. Governments urge to do more. It is said that 38% of Africans feel that gender-based violence is common in their community. A sizable and slowly growing majority of 75% of Africans say women should have the same chance of being elected to public office as men, but 52% say that a woman who runs for office is likely to be criticized or harassed. According to the report, on average, across 39 African countries, women are less likely than men to have secondary or post-secondary education at 51% versus 59% for men, a gap that is even wider among the youngest citizens, although their levels of educational attainment are also higher. A total of 58% of Africans endorse women's equal right to jobs, but vary widely by country. Women trail men significantly in ownership of key productive and informational assets, such as motor vehicles at 15% versus 31%, radios at 50% versus 65%, and bank accounts at 34% versus 43% for men. Similarly, women are less likely than men to say they make households' financial decisions themselves at 35% versus 44% for men, while governments get relatively positive marks for their efforts to promote gender equality. 63% of citizens say their governments should be doing more. The report further noted that the fight for women's equality takes place on many fronts, such as homes, communities, and schools, the workplace, businesses, and in government. According to Afrobarometer, country profiles can, however, differ substantially. Gender-based violence is the highest ranked issue in 21 of 39 countries, and majorities identify it as a priority in 5 of those. Cabo Verde 69%, Lesotho 64%, Botswana at 59%, Tunisia at 56%, and Namibia at 52%. What are your thoughts on this? I mean, there is a high chance that our next president would be a female president. Do you think Namibia is ready for this?
Definitely, I think we are ready, and I think it's very necessary that we empower women much more than what we've done. We have a very small population, and in order to compete on a global level, we need to maximize what productivity we can get from all of our people. I think we have a historic problem in that we always want to develop some at the expense of others, but it's just holding us back as a country. So the sooner that we empower more of our women, the better for all of us.
I totally agree. After the break, we'll be getting into your economic news. Do stay with Sunset News.
Neopaints has established a 67-year Namibian legacy, creating personalized paint solutions that blend quality and innovation for the Namibian people. We pride ourselves in being a 100% Namibian-owned company, investing in our country and our people by employing and empowering true Namibians. With every brushstroke, Neopaints commits to our quality guarantee and always delivering a coat of excellence. At Neopaints, we always stay true to our country. We are as Namibian as you.
Now, Microsoft has eclipsed Apple to become the world's largest company by market capitalization, driven by its deep focus on generative artificial intelligence, AI, a sector that has garnered increasing investor favor. The tech giant, which along with Nvidia and Amazon placed a significant emphasis on AI, has experienced substantial market surges over the past year. Notably, Microsoft's market value has risen by over $1 trillion. Analysts are drawing parallels between this shift and the early 2000s, when technology and internet companies began to replace consumer and financial firms at the forefront of the market's highest echelons. Let's take a look at our financial indicators. The Namibian dollar trades against the British pound at 23.69, against the euro at 20.40, against the US dollar at 18.64. 2 Namibian dollars and 60 cents gets you 1 Chinese yuan. On the commodities market, gold, copper, and platinum went up while Brent crude oil went down, trading at 1.14%, going for $77 and 22 cents per barrel. After the break, we'll be getting into your international news.
eTicket, your online ticket solution for events and event marketing, bringing you ease of mind and making sure that your event gets out there. For more information, contact events@nmh.com.na.
The French island of La Réunion was placed under cyclone alert on Monday morning, and citizens were urged to stay inside, cut power, stop using tap water, and stay in the safest room of their houses due to a cyclone named Bilal. One homeless person who was not in a safe shelter died in the storms, authorities have said, while adding that the exact causes of the death were not yet confirmed. Internet users on Monday morning posted on social media videos of heavy winds and rainfall, while the actual damage caused by the cyclone hitting the shores of the island wasn't immediately clear under the so-called violet alert. France's most serious even emergency services on the island in the Indian Ocean east of Madagascar were not allowed to leave their bases from 6 a.m. The alert was lowered to red from 1 p.m. local time, enabling first responders to resume their work while people were still urged to stay inside. Now, these natural disasters that seems to be happening everywhere are, a growing concern for everybody. Now, after the break, we'll be getting into our weather predictions. Let's get into the weather predictions for tomorrow. Now, February may bring below average rain for grain areas. Chances are that below average rainfall may occur around February over Namibia's grain producing areas, which can also lead to very high temperatures to continue into February and March in these areas. This is according to the climate report for the grain areas of Namibia by independent agricultural meteorologist Johan van der Berg. He said that fairly good rainfall of more than 20 millimeters is possible over the dryland grain areas in the north of Namibia until the end of this week. However, little rain is expected over the Hadab area for the next few weeks. Farmers are already concerned about the level of the Hadab Dam, which last week stood at about 18%. Now, that is very concerning indeed. After the break, we'll be diving into our sporting news with Brian.
Hello and welcome to today's Sports Rep Show.
I am your host, Jesse Jackson Kauraika. In replay, Namibia, who had won the toss for the first time on this tour.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with tennis news, both on the WTA for women's and
Well, good day viewers. On today's Sunset News brought to you by SportsRep, you guys do get the chance to meet Team J. Well, the name actually comes from Facebook after we only realized that the 4 people that will be traveling all the way to Ivory Coast for the AFCON 2024 all have the letter J in their names, starting off with Tia James Wilson, Jesse Jackson Kauraitha, Johannes Liungo, Joseph Thomas, who have all commenced with their journey to the Ivory Coast. SportsRep will be covering scenes from the African Cup of Nations directly in Ivory Coast. With that being said, do meet the team.
We are standing here, that is at the Hosea Kutako International Airport, on board, that is of course, to the Ivory Coast, where we are going to witness the Africa Cup of Nations. The Brave Warriors will be in action, and it is going to be a phenomenon. It is going to be an exciting, dramatic event that is in Ivory Coast. But I'm here joined, that is by the big boys that are also boarding the plane with me, that is to the Ivory Coast. Guys, are you excited? Yes, sir!
I'm very excited. I'm looking forward to it.
We are very excited indeed. Which player are you looking forward to seeing there?
Obviously, it's Peter Shalulile. Shasha, we are coming for you, man.
We need some goals on there. Peter Shalulile, please.
And Wendell Rudel.
Wendell must come through, man. Wendell must come through.
What's the message from you to the team?
Let's do our best and let's just win what we can, do what we can, show
Let's
them
try our
who
best,
we are.
guys.
Land of the brave.
Do what you can. Of course, Sports Rep will be there. Courtesy of Tafelaka, Go TV, DSTV.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much for making this possible. The Namibia Media Holdings as well. So stay tuned. We will be back. We'll see you in Cote d'Ivoire.
Before we go back and we'll be back, just tell me, you guys, our predictions for Namibia's first game against Tunisia. I'll start off with T.R. James Wilson. What is your prediction for our first match?
I think we're going to win 2-1.
2-1?
We're not losing that game.
Okay.
For sure.
Jesse Jackson.
I'm seeing a draw. It is going to be a score draw.
Okay.
I'm seeing a 1, Namibia 1, Tunisia 0.
Tunisia 0.
I'm looking forward to Namibia.
1-0 in favor of the Brave Warriors of yes.
Shalulile giving us the goal.
Yeah, it's Shalulile goal.
Okay, well, all the best to you guys.
All right. Thank you so much.
Love.
Let's go, Joel.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Well, the Namibian Hockey Union has proudly announced its women's team to represent the country in the historic first version of the five-a-side World Cup from 24 January in Oman's capital, Muscat. Well, with that being said, as you do look at the team there, we have the team captain, Petro Stoffenberg. She will be leading the team for this new competition. Well, that's all that we do have for you on the wrap-up show. Not on the wrap-up show, but on Sunset News. As for me, Brian Munango, it is good night.
We're definitely looking forward to see what Team J gets up to and what the AFCON has in store. And with that, we've come to the end of the broadcast. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing with us some of your thoughts on the stories. From me, Glenn Rashipura, until next time.